All right, everybody, welcome back. You ready for another deep dive?
Always excited to jump into a new topic. What are we exploring today?
Today, we're going deep into the fascinating world of the capybara.
Capybaras. And those are some creatures that just make you smile, you know?
Right. Like a giant guinea pig took a dip in a pool and said, I think I'll stay a while. But seriously, they're the world's largest rodent.
That's right, and we're not just skimming the surface with some fun facts.
Nope. We're going full deep dive. Biology, behavior, conservation. The whole 9 yards.
I'm talking size, those social groups they're famous for, and even how they fit into the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. And I gotta be honest, prepping for this, I came across some things that blew my mind.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Did you know these guys can weigh as much as a small refrigerator?
I mean, I knew they were big, but... A refrigerator. All right, you got my attention. Let's get into it.
All right, let's start with the obvious. These things are huge, but like how huge are we really talking?
Okay, imagine a rodent over 4 feet long. That's like eye level for a lot of folks.
Yeah, that's not a little mouse scurrying under the fridge anymore.
And the weight, upwards of 140 pounds.
Seriously,
No joke. Think about a golden retriever, maybe even bigger.
that's mind-blowing. But I guess all that bulk makes sense when you think about where they live, right?
Exactly. They're semi-aquatic, perfectly adapted for life in and around water. Their body shape, that barrel-like build, it's built for buoyancy.
And their fur.
Right.
I've seen pictures. It's kind of coarse and reddish-brown.
That's right. It's pretty rough, not soft and fluffy like you might think. That coarse texture helps them dry quickly when they're out of the water.
Makes sense. And those eyes, ears, and nostrils, all perched right on top of their head.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see, right? Like a little periscope poking out of the water.
It's got to be perfect for hiding from predators. Just blend right in with the water, only their eyes and nose peeking out.
Exactly. Safety first. Plus, it lets them keep an eye on the surroundings while staying cool and comfy in the water.
Speaking of keeping an eye on things, let's talk about their social life. Or do they live in these huge groups?
Oh yeah, capybaras are like the ultimate social butterflies of the rodent world. You'll find them in groups anywhere from 10 to 40 individuals, sometimes even bigger during certain times of the year.
Wow, that's like a whole rodent neighborhood hanging out together. What's the benefit of all that togetherness?
Well, like you said earlier, safety numbers is a big one. More eyes to spot predators, like jaguars or caimans, and more bodies to confuse them during an attack.
Right, makes sense. So it's not just a random hangout sesh. There's a real survival strategy behind those groups.
Absolutely. And it's not just about avoiding danger. There's a whole social structure within these groups. They've got a dominant male calling the shots, a bunch of females raising their pups, and younger males kind of jockeying for position, hoping to take over someday.
Sounds kind of like a rodent soap opera, all that drama unfolding.
Yeah.
But they're not just socializing 24/7, right? They've got to eat and sleep sometime.
Of course. Capybaras are primarily crepuscular.
Crepuscular, that's a new one.
It means they're most active during dawn and dusk. Basically, they're big fans of sunrise and sunset cocktails.
So like the brunch and happy hour crowd of the animal kingdom. Makes sense.
But they're also adaptable. If there's too much human disturbance or if predators are active during those times, they can switch to being nocturnal, more active at night.
See, adaptable. So what are they munching on during all those active hours?
Primarily grasses and aquatic plants. They're herbivores through and through.
Sounds like a pretty healthy diet.
Hmm.
All those fresh greens.
Yeah, it's a good life. Except for the part where they eat their own poop.
Hold on, what? They eat what?
Yeah, it's called coprophagy. Basically, they re-ingest their own droppings.
Okay, that's a little gross. What's the point of that?
Well, it's not about the taste. It's all about efficiency. You see, plant material, especially those tough fibers like cellulose, can be hard to digest. By eating their droppings a second time around, they're essentially double dipping on the nutrients.
Oh, so it's like a second chance to squeeze out all the goodness from their food. Not the most glamorous adaptation, but hey, it works. Speaking of new life, when do these guys start families?
Capybaras are pretty much ready to mingle year-round, but their peak breeding season usually aligns with the rainy season. It makes sense, right? More food, more water, more resources for the little ones.
Yeah, timing is everything.
So
So how long until those little capybaras arrive?
gestation is about 130 to 150 days. That's around 4 to 5 months. And after all that waiting, they usually have a litter of 2 to 8 pups.
Wow, a litter of 8. That's a lot of tiny capybaras running around. Are they like most baby animals, pretty helpless at first?
Nope. Capybara babies are what we call precocial. Basically, they hit the ground running or swimming.
So they're born ready to go.
Pretty much. They're born with fur, their eyes are open, and they can walk and swim within hours of being born. Talk about hitting the ground running.
That's amazing. Mini capybaras already exploring their world. That's adorable. But it can't be all sunshine and rainbows, right? What are the dangers they face out in the wild?
You're right, it's a tough world out there. Being a big, slow-moving herbivore makes you a pretty tempting target for predators.
Like who?
Yeah.
What kind of predators are we talking about?
Oh, you name it. Jaguars, pumas. Those are the big cats you gotta watch out for. Then you've got caimans lurking in the water. And don't forget about the anaconda, a snake big enough to take down even a full-grown capybara.
Wow, that's a scary lineup. And on top of all that, they have to deal with humans too, right?
Unfortunately, yes. Hunting is a major threat to capybaras in some areas. Their meat is considered a delicacy in some cultures, and their skin can be used for leather.
It's always sad to hear about humans impacting these animals' lives in a negative way. But you did say earlier they're not currently endangered.
That's right. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, the IUCN, currently lists them as least concern.
That's good news, at least for now. But what about the future? Their habitat, those wetlands they depend on, are under threat, right?
Exactly. Habitat loss is the biggest long-term threat to capybaras. As wetlands are drained for agriculture, development, or impacted by climate change, these gentle giants lose their homes.
That's a good point. So even though their population numbers are okay right now, their future is still uncertain.
Exactly. And that's why conservation efforts are so important.
What kind of efforts are being made to protect them and their habitats?
A lot of focus is on protecting those crucial wetland habitats. That means establishing protected areas, working with local communities to manage resources sustainably, and educating people about the importance of these ecosystems.
I always love hearing about these efforts to make a difference. It gives me hope. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Big size, amazing social structures, even their unusual poop-eating habits. What's the one thing that just makes you shake your head in awe when it comes to capybaras?
You know, for me, it's their resilience and adaptability. I mean, here's a rodent, a giant one, but still a rodent, thriving in a really challenging environment. They found a way to make it work, and they do it with a chill attitude that's just infectious. It's a testament to the power of evolution, really.
Well said. It really makes you appreciate how diverse and amazing life on Earth is. But it also makes you wonder, if they're so well adapted to their current environment, what happens if things change drastically? Like, how will they cope with the effects of climate change on their wetland homes? That's something to think about, isn't it?
It is. It's a reminder that even the most successful species can be vulnerable to forces beyond their control. And it highlights the importance of understanding the delicate balance of these ecosystems, the role each species plays, and the interconnectedness of it all.
Absolutely. It's all connected. Well, folks, that was our deep dive into the world of the capybara. Hopefully, you've learned a thing or two and maybe even developed a bit of a soft spot for these gentle giants. They're a reminder that there's always more to discover, always more to learn about the incredible diversity of life on our planet. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep caring about the natural world and all its inhabitants.
Well said. Until next time.
See you then.